All right, Philadelphia, we just got done our first bye week of the season, and we gear up for another full week of Union soccer. Welcome on in. We have some fun stuff here for you today on PHLY Union. I'm one of your hosts, JP Zapata, joined as always with the lovely Renee Washington. Renee, we're back into some Union soccer this week. How are we feeling?
I'm great. We've got some breaking news that just happened.
That's right.
I guess you can call it that. We've got a match this upcoming weekend for the Union. They're going to have a quick stretch of a couple games within a few days of each other with makeup game Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And happy to be able to break down some things. And I just realized for the first time that we're like low-key matching actually this whole time. It wasn't until we were sitting next to each other on camera, but this whole time we've been in the office, I didn't put together, we're wearing yellow. I know Andrew's got yellow on. Tyler doesn't have yellow on.
It's funny because this morning on the Gargano show, like Cuz had the pink shirt and we were both rocking the pastel colors. So we're giving giving a lot of Easter. A lot of Easter, especially for big game 2 today, which is funny because this past weekend, we had a lot of fun, obviously, with the Sixers and the Knicks. And I'm glad that NYCFC Twitter. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But NYCFC found my tweets because, I find them to be one of the biggest rivals that we have, if not the biggest rival that we have in the MLS. And Renee, I can't hate but to think back to 2021 and how they took away the Eastern Conference Final from us, the COVID season. So it's been a lot. It's been fun going back and forth with the New York fans. The play on the court will definitely change, but it's been fun.
I don't know if it will change, JP. I like that you're being optimistic. And I would like to be optimistic myself, but I know for the Sixers specifically, Tyrese Maxey questionable, Joel Embiid questionable, was
flu game,
sunglasses on and stuff. This is it. This series is done in like maybe 6 at the most.
Oh, Renee.
I didn't say who was winning it. I just said it's going to be done. Sarcasm.
With the cliffhanger there. I like that.
Yeah, sure. But I have faith. And like I said on the Philly show, because fortunately there are other teams in this city that are winning, that are undefeated, that are doing well, that are on winning streaks. So although the Sixers might be struggling, and listen, they're going to do what they're going to do every time it gets to the playoffs. There's always some sort of drama and chaos going on. There is no drama and chaos. Knock on wood.
Not yet, at least. Let's not get to the end of last season, right? Because we don't need that type of drama again. But yeah, so as Renee mentioned, so we have a lot of fun stuff today. Obviously, listen, we have a match to talk about over the weekend, but we will have some fun stuff to talk about. We want to get you guys engaged here today in today's show. But like Renee mentioned, we're going to start off with some breaking news. Da-na-na. Not so much breaking, but it is a move here. And according to the emails, the inbox, the Union have acquired $350,000 in general allocation money from our old friends down in Tennessee. Nashville Soccer Club send that over to us. So let me see here. So $350,000 in 2025 GAM. In exchange, the Union have traded one of their 2024 international roster slots and a 2025 international roster slot as well. So 2 international roster slots, one for this season and one for the next year. Curious to see what Ernst is kind of cooking up here with that GAM money. Trying to see what we can get here within the league. But, GAM, TAM, it's all the fun stuff. DP, it's all the fun stuff, the fun nuances that we have here within the league. And, we're going to talk a little bit here today about what those plans should look like here for the Union, Renee. But so far, an early move here at the end of April.
Yeah, I thought it was a little interesting as I just saw the message come across about, breaking the fact that they are getting money, some GAM. I don't know who this is for. Like now my wheels are spinning and I'm like overthinking, I should say. Like, would this be going towards Julian Carranza to help him? I mean, it's only $350,000. But they're like, I feel like bring in as much money as they can. And was it around Kai or Ali that we saw a move made for some cash allocation for some GAM? I think it actually was at that time.
You are on the right lines. It does feel like
I'm fishing a little bit.
No, it does feel like when they do make these type of moves, it does feel like it's something in-house is about to happen here. I mean, we'll talk about it. Obviously, Carranza is the big one this upcoming summer, but they could be looking to keep some players in-house. But I mean, this team, look, obviously, as we've seen them, we talked about it on Thursday with Mike Barrera, which, by the way, check that episode out. It was fantastic catching up with him. But this is obviously, look, it's still going to be one of the elite teams in the East. But what can they do to take that next step in being the finalists here in the East and being the team that, hoists the MLS Cup as a representative here for the Eastern Conference? I still think they maybe are a piece away from that. I don't think they're too far off from it. But, we'll see if Ernst is going to dig in, maybe bring in some depth here because obviously we're starting 11. You put them up with some of the best here in the league. It's really my concern is that depth there for the Union, and we'll see what Ernst can do with that.
Yeah, and I'd love to say that this trade for GAM is an act now move and a plan for the now, because in that you are, as you mentioned, moving international roster spots for 2025 and 2024. And I don't know any at all what this means, to be honest, but I'm curious. Like, I just feel like there's some things going on behind the scenes. As we know, excitingly enough, with the Union being the only undefeated team in the MLS right now, still in the mix, top of the standings, there's a lot more encouraging aspects to their start to the season than not. Like, I think they've really caught many people by surprise. Even myself, I can say, I didn't know what to expect from this group running it back. And I know we talked about this on Thursday. And so I would love to, like, now it's a great time, I feel like, with them having a bye last week, to look at what we know. Where could they possibly strengthen in some areas and get better? Because I do feel like the Union, for as great as they are, there's always room for improvement, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Always room.
Absolutely.
But it's pretty solid for the most part. It's through the starting 11, and then those guys, first off the bench, you've got some really good talent there. But what I always get nervous about as the Sixers are going through this now is when you get to the postseason, then what? What happens after a long season? You want to always be prepared for the what ifs, the injuries, or somebody struggling, or whatever may happen down the stretch of just a long season that you need to have depth, as we've talked about. So there's a couple areas that I think need to be a little bit better.
Or you could be like the Sixers heading into that next series where you thought you had the better bench, and then in game one, the Knicks bench outscores you 42-7. But we won't talk about that. They'll talk about that on PHLY Sixers. But it's good to mention, though, Renee, tomorrow.
No comment on that. I didn't have any optimism in the Sixers starters or the bench past the Knicks. Sorry, not sorry. I don't care who's in or out, not playing for the Knicks. It's the Sixers we're talking about.
Oh, man.
This is what they do best,
Sixers
sadly.
are betting us badly here. But important to note here, Renee, is that this move comes before the deadline tomorrow with the MLS. So the MLS transfer deadline, this is only for the league of the MLS. The deadline is tomorrow. So it is interesting that this move does come a day before the deadline tomorrow. So maybe, just maybe, Ernst is looking within the league. So we'll see. I mean, this move is very interesting. It's like one of those moves where you can easily go like, oh, just GAM. But in the bigger scheme of things, it could be for something bigger. So we'll keep an eye out for it. Make sure you guys are following PHLY Union on Twitter. You feel me? But let's
not you feel me. I cannot.
So with that point there, Renee, let's look at that. Let's look at this roster real quick, right? Like we mentioned, tops of the East. They, as of late, have been scoring goals, so that's something that's been picking up, and the defense has played a lot better. I know nobody wants to talk about the 6-0 thumping in CCC, but the defense...
I don't remember that anymore.
Right,
that's
God from our
old
memories.
news.
But the defense has played a lot better since then. So, Renee, I'm going to bring this question to you first, and then we'll bring it to the comment section as well. If you have to look at this roster, is there a position in particular that you feel this team could upgrade from? Going down the line here.
Well, okay, so goalie's great because you have Oliver Zemla as backup with Andre Blake dealing with an injury bit.
Great revelation this year, yeah.
So that I feel good about. You don't really need a third fully. I have faith in the two of them that one of them should be out there. Knock on wood, gosh. I think the back line has enough depth. Obviously, we saw Matt Rial get loaned out, as we talked about on Thursday or Friday. That's, I think, a move that makes sense because the backline has 6 guys that you can rotate between those 4 spots, whether it's a 3-back or a 4-back. You've got flexibility there. So I think defensively, the unit is great. Where I would love to see improvements for the Philadelphia Union moving forward, if I could have a say and be involved, is in the midfield and up top. I think you need one piece for each. I still think they are about a midi away. I think Jose Martinez is solid as a 6. I love the way that Jack and Quinn have been playing, and Daniel Gazag's playing much better. And Ali's a great player off the bench. Jesus Bueno is a great player off the bench. But I still feel like they're missing that traditional playmaker. I think Jack McGlynn, we saw him register his first assist like 2 games ago, it would have been. Mm-hmm. And he's absolutely a guy that completes passes, helps with possession, but he's that box-to-box midi. Quinn Sullivan's the worker. He's going to make runs all over the place. He's going to overlap. He's going to get forward. He's flexible where he can play up top or in the midfield. Daniel Gazag is scoring. Great to see him and Julian are actually making some history themselves as one of the only duos across Major League Soccer to have.
That's right.
For goals that they've scored. I'll have to find the exact stat. But I still think they're missing that true facilitator, the person who's going to spray the ball, who's going to make the final third pass, set up, get the assist, set people up to score. And then as we saw with Ua coming off the bench, which I actually liked, I'd still love to see somebody else in that starting role up top. It doesn't have to be somebody that's going to come in and score you 20 goals in the season. But I think similar to actually what Quinn brings, I think they could use another Quinn, another guy that's versatile, that can play up top or in the midfield, that just brings the aggression, brings the work, brings the runs, brings the creativity. Because to be honest, the best players you get from that are Quinn, Kai, Nate. Julian, Daniel, they're both more of polished finishers.
Yeah. They're
going to, high press, especially Julian. He's going to high press the backs. But where's that forward that's more savvy of just kind of drifting in and out of pockets, finding the ball, making runs, spinning off of defenders, consistently to link play. So I think if I had to pick one, it'd be a guy that could do both. Like, a Quinn would be great. But ideally, it'd be 2 guys, and you'd add one more piece of the midfield. Plus, midfield to spot, you need depth. You need that. Ali and Jesus are your backups. Leon Flack when he gets healthy. But I still think they're a midi out. And then up top with Marcus Anderson, Chris Donovan, Jeremy Raffanel is another one that can play in different roles. I still think they're missing that guy, another depth piece that outside of Julian, Quinn, and Daniel is going to be able to contribute. Uwa's doing better. I'm happy to see it, but I still think they're missing one more consistent threat that can add into the attack.
That's what it definitely does feel like. So I found the graphic. This was from MLS Communications here. So what it is that teammates to both score in the most games at MLS. I'm assuming in the same game there. So right now they are tied with the great duo that Toronto had for many seasons that helped them win 2 MLS Cups, Sebastian Giovinco and Josie Altidore. Right behind them is Diego Rossi with Carlos Vela with 14. Taylor Twellman and Steve Ralston. Wow. What a throwback there with 13. And then 11, Gazak and Ua. They're right there in 4th. But no, Renee, when I look at this potential offseason for the U, I think they have everything, right? They have a solid attack. Midfield's been really strong this year. The back line will always be strong. It hasn't looked the best in the beginning of the parts of the year, but you know them. You can trust them. The goalie, like I mentioned, Zemla has been such a great revelation this year because Andre Blake, we know international cup, but obviously we're dealing with the injuries right now. So it's so big having a guy like Oliver Zemla step up. But when I look at this team, Renee, I always make that reference to the Phillies back in the late 70s, early 80s. No one loves to talk about this guy, but when they brought in Pete Rose, he was a really good player, and he was that piece that the Phillies needed at that time. And I know we're talking about a different sport and a completely different era of sports, but I really feel like the Union, that's what they're missing. Like an attack, like someone in the attack for sure, whether it be someone who can play as a 10, someone who can play as a little bit of an 8. Maybe you can line them up as a forward, but someone who can come off that bench, provide some veteran leadership, provide some goal scoring as well, just that tenacity, that killer instinct that we talk about so much. That's something that I would definitely look at. Obviously, Carranza, that's a big question mark. What is going to happen with him? I genuinely don't know. There is a possibility he could stay here, which would be really awesome. But you do need to think about that because if not, you're going to lose him for nothing. And you're one of your most prolific goal scorers in your young club's history. So it is definitely something difficult that the Union have to kind of think about.
Yeah.
But I would love if Julian stays, you find yourself a veteran midfielder, someone who could play 10, play the 8, some versatility, or find a forward if Julian does leave. I think Julian's replacement should be someone with experience,
Definitely.
some veteran experience to come in, bring that veteran. And especially what's important to me is that I do think you need that European experience, or even just experience playing in some big matches. Copa Libertadores is something really big as well, but just bringing that experience, because like when you see them in big game moments, they like 2022, the MLS Cup final, that's the easiest one. Like they gave it their all, but they were just that close to it. So when I'm looking at a replacement, a position, I'm looking at the attack, and I'm just looking for some veteran experience who can bring some of that killer instinct.
Yeah, and I think the key is it's not just a specific position, it's what they bring to the pitch. You know, what's their skill set, what's their experience, what kind of leadership do they bring? I think for the Union, they're not missing, like some teams you can point at and say, they need a good outside back, they need a goalie, they need a forward. No, the Union have a lot of those pieces. They're starting 11, they're starting 13, I should even say, pretty interchangeable. Like an Olivier and Mbaizo can start, and you're not too nervous. Anybody can start between the three center backs. You know, you have the goalies, you have flexibility there. I think where you're missing that is up top, is in the attack, because you don't have the ability to bring onto the field a guy that's going to be a game changer. Like I think Ali Baduya has been doing that. We've seen him start. We've seen him come off the bench. He's been great in his roles. But I would love to see more of a veteran presence. I still do think that for as great as the youth has been progressing, you know, Nate, Jack, Quinn are three examples of guys that you don't look at them as youngsters anymore. They've played a lot of minutes. But you still need that player that has had a chance to, you know, be a professional for 8-10 years. And they're now in a point in their career where they understand, like you said, those big moments, championships, playoffs in general, postseason, you know, Leagues Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup, whatever it may be. They understand how the game within the game. So I would love to actually just get even Ali and Andre, those guys, some help with that, because I think you had that veteran presence defensively as a unit, but I feel like sometimes in attack it's missing somebody that knows how to like calm things down, keep everybody composed, keep everybody organized. You know, that one that's going to pick you up. Next play, you got this, that voice, that presence. Like, it's not even just about, that's why I said it's not just about scoring goals. It's about somebody that's going to come in and help the Union be able to, in those big moments, work through it. Now, we have seen them down 2-0, tie, whatever the circumstance is, figure out a way to still handle that adversity. But you look at even those first few games without Julian, you know, when Daniel was struggling, how they looked lost. And that makes me nervous. It's such a long season. What if somebody gets sick or gets hurt? You know, you still need those other pieces that can help in a pinch, you know, get you the results that you need.
Yeah, no, that's the key part of it too. Like, you know, Ali is such a big leader, such a major voice within that dressing room. But it's one thing having Ali being that voice in the dressing room, being that voice in the huddle before each half. But it's another thing when you have a guy out there who not only leads in the dressing room, but with his play. I mean, like, you know, let's bring it back to that Sixers narrative there. Joel Embiid is such a presence out there. And if you don't believe that just the presence out there brings up the level of the other players, then you're just not watching the sport.
But he's not a leader. No, I'm so serious. Like, I think your comparison's perfect, because they have, and their presence is like a Julian Carranza, Daniel Gazdag. They're center backs, Jacob or Jack. But you don't have that true veteran that's gonna be able to, your true veteran, I feel like, has to be someone that's one of your better players and a voice. Yeah. Like, Ali is not a top 5 guy for the Union. He's a great player for them. Don't get me wrong. He's not a top 5 guy. Joel Embiid is the best guy for the Sixers, but he's not the voice. He's not the reliable, the calm, cool and collected guy that's composed and made in stressful situations. He's not even out there sometimes in stressful situations. Like, your leader needs to be someone that you know is going to be on the pitch. Jimmy Butler, I hate to bring it up, is that guy. The guy's out there playing with a sprained MCL. Like, you know, it's going to take a lot to have him out. He's going to do whatever it takes to be on the floor. He's going to do whatever it takes to help. I don't think the Union have that. I think they're missing, and I don't think the Sixers have it either. But we're on the Union show, so I'm not even going to get into them. But I like your comparisons. I think they are missing that.
Yeah, it's so, like, I mean, we've done a good job of just building a good culture here, but like that type of stuff is like, you don't even think about it, like, especially when you're building this team out. And I think back to when we had ALLCITY here, right? Like 2019, teams are tired after 60 minutes, and here comes the Union bringing ALLCITY out there. And now they're throwing you instead of a 4-4-2 dime, and now it's a 4-2-3-1. And now you have to try to contain this guy out on the wing, and he created so many opportunities. Just like having a guy like this player that I'm thinking of, which we'll probably have to pinpoint, find a clear example of what I'm thinking about. But this player, even if he just, starts a handful of matches in the season, but comes off the bench for most of the games, and he just brings you 30 minutes of just quality soccer and just puts the back line on their heels. 2022, that bench dynamic was a little bit different because Corey would come out. Yeah. And Corey, after 60 minutes of trying to keep up with Carranza, Gazaganoa, Corey comes out here with his speed and his tenacity, running with the high press. There were so many second half goals that year.
And Corey Burke was a game changer.
He was a workhorse. Paxton Aronson coming off, bringing a different dynamic as that number 10. Like, those are type of things, like, essentially, Renee, you're getting players to come on your bench so that way you can throw different things at teams. And that's something that I really don't feel like we have right now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're very strong at the 11, but is this bench going to throw something different at these teams? Is it going to throw them off? And I just don't think we have that.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to, is defensively you have that. That's one of the strengths that the Union has, the ability to go to a 3-back or a 4-back, or even trying maybe Damian Lowe in the midfield. Nate Harriel, who can play on both sides. You have that versatility defensively. You don't have that in the midfield and the attack. When they switch to a 4-3-3, diamond midfield, traditional flat 4, it kind of the level is not always the same. There is sometimes a drop off. So I do agree. Like, you want to bolster up the attack, especially to have the ability to handle whatever's thrown your way. And you know where else you can handle whatever's thrown your way? Rite Aid. Rite Aid is the spot to go. It's allergy season. They've got a lot of allergy relief for you. They also have some great tips for you. If you are someone that is able to check out the Rite Aid Rewards program, they also will send you some tips and updates, such as things like keep your windows closed, use your air conditioning, make sure you're taking off your shoes and jackets when you go inside so you're not trekking pollen through your house. Rite Aid has a lot of over-the-counter options for you in terms of handling your allergies. I am now team allergies, apparently. They've got all types of different things like Flonase and medications. You can use nasal sprays or just over-the-counter medicine in general that can help handle the peak pollen season that we are in. But also, they have all that you need around vaccines. That's right. At Rite Aid, you can protect yourself and your family by staying up to date on your immunizations. They have pharmacists that are specially trained, certified, and will help get you the vaccines that you need, whether that's RSV, which is a highly contagious seasonal virus that infects the respiratory tract. Maybe it's COVID. Maybe it's a flu vaccine. They've got a lot of different vaccines for you there that you can check out right at Rite Aid. And if you are unsure, you can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist. They'll give you some insight. Maybe you have a young child that's under the age of 3. They'll give you insight on what you should be doing, how you can stay healthy, shingles, RSV, any sort of vaccines that you're looking to check out. And when you go to the vaccine centers at Rite Aid, you have the ability to get that help that you need. So you can select Rite Aid stores that are near you, find that location, whatever Rite Aid works best for you. I love that Rite Aid is on pretty much like every corner possible, and you can go in, get vaccines, over-the-counter allergy medicine, snacks, makeup. They have all types of things for you, even little games and seasonal decor at Rite Aid. And if you have any questions on what immunizations you need, again, maybe you're not up to date. Maybe you're unsure about what to look for. Maybe you're even nervous. You can go to a Rite Aid pharmacist who will take the time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns, because there are no questions that are too small. You can just walk in or schedule an appointment anytime, Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And of course, there are some state, age, and health restrictions that may apply, but you can ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for more details. So head on over to Rite Aid today. Check out what they've got. Visit your local Rite Aid. Stock up on allergy relief, ice cream, maybe some mascara. Maybe you want to buy, they have like some spring decor. I always like their home decor section. It's such great stuff. They have sunscreen because it is time to stock up on that as well. So walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment, or check it all out at riteaid.com or the local Rite Aid near you.
Absolutely. I know that, April brings the allergies, and that's why I got to go to Rite Aid, which I understand that does suck. But you know what else April brings? It brings great sports. Guys, this is the hotbed for sports. We're in Stanley Cup playoffs. We're in NBA playoffs. We got the Phillies underway, the Union underway. We got some great MLS matches. I was looking at the slate for this weekend. We got DC, Seattle. That should be interesting with the way those teams have been playing. Chicago, Atlanta, LAFC, Portland. Those are some fun games. Well, guys, you know what you could do while watching those games? You guys can use the BetPark Sportsbook app, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And of course, this show is brought to you by the BetParks app. Get in the zone with the BetPark Sportsbook app. Like we mentioned, a lot of events that are going on. So that's why having the BetPark Sportsbook app makes it a lot of fun while you're watching these games. You can check out some of the lines, check out some of your favorite underdogs, and you can bet there today. Win big with all-day action. Win your first $10 bet and earn $125 in your sports bonus bets. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParks. Download the app and play along with us today. You must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But thank you to our friends over at BetParks. And we got Jillian with a great question here, Renee. I love it. Jillian bring it, or not question, but comment here. Definitely miss Corey Burke. It's very telling that Ty isn't being used. That's interesting. Yeah. Marcus Anderson is showing some promise. Definitely, we miss the Berkey. Hate seeing him in that Red Bull red, but glad to see him getting paid out there. The Ty thing, though, it's definitely interesting. It's hard to make a full judgment when we haven't really seen him played, Renee. Like how do we judge it? Like when we haven't really seen Ty play out there.
I have a few words for you. Joaquin Torres, Matt Real. Ty Baribo, we can throw him in there too. I think it's only a matter of time before we hear that Ty Baribo is being loaned somewhere. Because, first of all, I don't. From the little bit I've seen of him, I feel like he can help this team. But I haven't seen enough to fully know. Yeah. And so, on international duty, he gets opportunities, if I remember, like decent opportunities here and there. But within the Union, he doesn't get a sniff of the field. Yeah. And it's just weird because there are, like, Jeremy Raffanello we've seen, and I would like to see more of him. I know, as Jillian mentioned, Marcus Anderson, another one that's definitely showing some promise. Like, we've seen Chris, Marcus, Jeremy get some time at least. We haven't seen Ty at all. And I'm going to go pull up his exact numbers because I don't understand if he's healthy. Why haven't we been able to? I mean, I get it. The games are close. Like, you're not just putting players out there just to put players out there. But I was under the impression that he was someone that could help and could add and was not awful. Yeah. So I don't understand, why is he on the team at 26 years old and you can't play him at all? So I'm going to pull up some, because I know he's scored goals and has done stuff for this. Like, he's produced for the team. In 2023, he made 5 appearances, had one start. Oh no, where did it go? Had one start. His debut, ironically, was against the Red Bulls. Internationally, like I said, that's where I've seen him do pretty well. He's got those 14 caps with the Israeli national team. He's scored 3 goals. Twice were in friendlies. He scored 3 goals, 2 in friendlies, and 1 in a 2-1 victory over Albania. I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be something that we're missing here with Ty. Like, there's got to be a reason why. Like, I'd love to know what they're seeing from him in training, because he hasn't played a single minute in 2024. Not one. In the short stint that I did see him last year in Leagues Cup, I saw a guy with some good movement, some good size when you see him in the first look there. But it's I think what it comes down to, Renee, and this is the reason why he's not out there, and we don't know. I think it's all to do with practice. And the thing is that this year he obviously had a tough time. He had visa issues, or in preseason he really wasn't getting a lot of play. And so that has something to do with it. So that kind of obviously delayed, when other guys have been here from the jump in preseason. So that definitely does hurt. But at this point, you're like, why aren't we seeing more of Ty Baribo? He is helping with Israel. He is playing a little bit more with Israel. So it is just a weird circumstance. But I think you just chalk it up to he's just not doing enough for Jim in practice for him to get consistent minutes. We've seen this before with guys like Matthias Davo. I think we could throw David Accam in there a little bit towards the end of his tenure here. There's just different players where it's just like they just don't show. Matic Orovic is the big one, sexy season. Like these are type of guys that
you see glimpses, but if you're not going to show it on a day-to-day basis in training, Jim will not play. He makes it very obvious in every press conference, and every time we ask about these players, he alludes to training right away. So I think that's just what it is, but it is definitely weird. But to your last point, Jillian, Marcus has shown a lot. I think there's a lot of raw talent. I think there's some more development left to do. I have seen him play with you too, which I think is great for him to get those minutes.
Absolutely agree.
But you can see, like when we talk about Corey Burke, man can stretch a back line. Yeah. With some tired legs, he could definitely be a weapon. But I think more so needs to be more technical with this skill set.
Yeah. And what's up? I see we've got Big British Lad in the chat. Nice to have you here. As you guys are joining in, hit that thumbs up button, join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts on where you would, look to strengthen the Union's roster. I do feel like for guys like Marcus, even Chris, I think they bring you something completely different in how they add to the attack. I think they're promising for the future. As you mentioned, you see someone like Marcus getting that Union 2 time. That's going to help him evolve his game. And even just the confidence and the maturity is going to be helpful for him to be a leader and be someone in Union 2 that's got a completely different role. And also just to be comfortable, to start to fit in and find your way through the Union pipeline of how you can be an impact player. And I think his impact is great off the bench. As you mentioned, like you're coming in while the opponent's backline's maybe a little bit more tired. You're able to make good runs. And also he's just aggressive around the goal. So I do think there is a lot that maybe we even didn't realize talent-wise the Union had because we were just unsure. Jaime Berdicio and Marcus Anderson and these guys that were brought in, even Oliver Zemla, we had no idea what they could add. But it's great to see how it's translating. I still would love to see in the future them continue to evolve that role. I like Jesus Bueno, Ali Bedoya. They're going to be two of your guys off the bench in the midfield. If Chris, Donovan, and Marcus are going to be two of your guys up top that come in, let's elevate them to a point where they can come in and be able to change the game. If it's not Ty Baribo, and I agree. I've never been one to think like, just give everybody a chance. This is not rec. This is not participation trophy ball. Like everyone doesn't get a chance to just play. But I really felt like he had something there. And I didn't think he was drastically a drop-off bad enough that wouldn't allow him to get minutes. But apparently something's going on in practice that we're missing. And so
do you agree with
hope
that mindset, though? Because, I think we feel like we talked about this before. Like, there are players that when the lights are on, game time's on, they just play differently. Something just turns on in their head. Good or bad. Yeah, good or bad. Mm-hmm. But, that's why, I get where Jim is coming from with that mindset, but they're not everyone's the same. Yeah. And that's kind of I think I told you, myself, I was always you can tell, I worked my ass off during the week, but then come game time, I see a huge kid from Pensacola and I'm just crumbling under. I'm covering the legs. I mean, I would, this kid would pancake me.
No, talking that's not good at all.
200 plus. I'm 170 in high school freshman year, but in all seriousness, I always question that mindset because I understand where he's coming from. Yeah, right? But some guys do turn it on when the lights are brighter.
Yeah, and there are some that are practice players that you put them in a game and they don't do well, or you said, there are some that are the opposite that maybe in practice they're just kind of going through the motions, but game day they're locked in, they're ready to go. They're just give me to the game. The hard part is there's no real room to try them out. You have to prove it in practice. You have to prove it in preseason because once you start getting to the regular season, you can't put him out there. Now, what you actually probably could do is in a game that you're up 3-1 or something, maybe you get him out to the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, see what he can do. I know it doesn't sound like a long time, but in soccer minutes, that's a good amount of time. And then you build from there. Now, maybe next time he gets 20 minutes or 15 minutes. You can work ways in, especially with the Union being unbeaten, as they continue to have that 2-goal lead, 3-goal lead, see him, put him out there, see what he can do. And I have had coaches that they'll even tell players, listen, we're going to get you out there, just go play and work hard. Just go play and have fun. And we'll see, we'll go from there and see how it goes. So I guess Ty's not showing much in practice at all, and that's been the issue.
No, I wouldn't say a concern, but something I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for with the attack is we're running Quinn a lot. Because Quinn now is your starting Shudler, right?
That's a good point.
And now he's your third string forward. So when Carranza or Ua aren't in, like he's in there. And so like he's young. Like that part of it is fine, but it's more like the mentals. You're out there every single match. He's been playing really well. We've talked about it. He's been the most consistent player early on this season for the U. So those are things that you definitely keep an eye out and worry about. So that's why, like, we want to see more from a Tyler Hebo. Jesus Bueno really hasn't gotten a lot of play this year, which is interesting to bring up too.
He's another one I would absolutely love to see more minutes from Jesus Bueno, because I do feel like he's one that you need to get him going. You're going to need him in the midfield, and you're going to need him to really help the middle be able to just be more solid and be prepared for the longevity of the season. You know what else can help your middle? That's over at Olipop. Your digestive health we're talking about, of course, guys. That's right. Olipop is the world's first functional soda with a classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients that help support your gut health. Now, Olipop is a new kind of soda with only 2 to 5 grams of sugar per can and about 9 grams of fiber per can. It provides you with the chances to drink a delicious, flavorful soda that also is good for you, because 2 out of 3 Americans say they suffer from digestive issues. 95% of them are not getting the amount of fiber that they need. And Olipop is helping to tackle those issues, getting you fiber, getting your gut health in check. Now, over at Olipop, they've got a lot of different flavors for you that you can try out. They've got the vintage cola, the classic root beer, orange squeeze, classic grape, strawberry vanilla, cream soda, cherry cola, Dr. Goodwin. And the best part about it is you can drink it as a soda. You can drink it as a root beer float with some yummy ice cream. You can maybe drink it as a mixer with your alcohol on a nice thirsty Thursday, if we're still doing that. The kids still do that these days, the adults, I should say. So over at Olipop, what also makes it great is there's plenty of places to buy Olipop. You can shop for Olipop in 30,000 retailers nationwide. Wawa, who just celebrated its 60th anniversary, has Olipop right on their shelves. Target, Wegmans, ShopRite, GoPuff, and also online on Amazon or on drinkolipop.com. So you can use the code PHLY20, get 20% off of your next Olipop order. That only applies to your first-time orders, not any subscriptions. And you can buy Olipop online or in those 30,000 retailers nationwide. Check out their delicious flavors, the healthy benefits of no added sugar, and the fiber and prebiotics. And then also make sure that you're getting your gut health in check with Olipop. Again, that's PHLY20, gets you 20% off of your next Olipop order.
Absolutely. Well, now that you're making smart decisions with the belly, make some smart decisions with the pockets, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we have our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union here today. Let me tell you a little bit about TrueMark, guys. When you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become a part owner, which means profits come right back to you instead of going to the shareholders. Better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings, and more flexible options with all the same digital tools and tech to make your lives easier. TrueMark has local roots because they are headquartered right here in Fort Washington with 24 branches in the Philadelphia area. They serve our community and our people right here at home. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over being a customer at a bank. It's an absolute no-brainer. So what are you waiting for, guys? Head on over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's truemark.com/PHLY. It's actually right here on the screen as well on YouTube if you're watching. Federally insured by NCUA. Thank you so much to our friends over at TrueMark. All right, Renee, you ready to have some fun?
I am. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so what we're going to do here today, guys, because we're having a little fun, we're fresh off the bye week. We wanted to look at some of these European contracts that are expiring this summer, and we're going to see here whether or not we would take them on the U or not, or just in the league in general. So
call us Jay and Ernst.
Jane, we're going to be acting like, so obviously Renee Sugarman and I'm Ernst.
Why am I Sugarman?
I made you the bad guy here.
Yeah, what? What? I am cheap. I will take that. I'm a bargain shopper.
And I will Moneyball for you.
Yeah, actually, I might be Sugarman because I definitely am out here like getting the best bargain possible, squeezing the most out of $1.
I love it. We love it, Renee. All right, first one, Kylian Mbappe, sign me.
Can I get Kylian Mbappe for 500, please?
I would love
Instead
that.
of Mbappe, can I get the fake version? Is there a non?
Oh, man. I will take his brother. I'm sure his brother is
non-designer
fantastic.
version of Kylian Salape that I can buy?
Just put a mustache on him.
That'd be so nice.
So obviously his contract's been heavily noted throughout the world. Looks like he's going to go to Real Madrid, but we threw that out there to have fun because his contract is expiring at PSG.
Well, he wants, and he's out of there.
He's definitely coming to MLS at one point of his career, right? He seems
this is something that we talked about before the show. Like the MLS needs to no longer be the retirement league.
I get that.
Or the league that's helps your, catapult your career. It shouldn't be
you want to be the big boys.
The CLS or the RLS, not catapult league soccer or retirement league soccer.
So you want it
this needs to be the landing spot.
You want it to be the Prem, the Bundesliga, La Liga, MLS.
Yes. I'd love for the MLS to get to a point talent-wise where this is the league people want to stay and financially they can pay to keep you here versus feeling like you got to go somewhere else to get the bag or go somewhere else because you want to play the best soccer and that's not in the MLS.
I would love that.
That's my own personal
I think we
gripe.
can get to that, but it takes support, guys. That's why we're so hectic about this MLS. We want you guys to support. All right, I want to go something a little more realistic. Tyler Zulli, who I know very well from Napoli. He's very versatile in the midfield. I wouldn't put him as a 6, but you can run him as a shuttler. You could run him as a 10, especially in this league. His value is dropping. Currently 25 million euros, which obviously is a lot, but his value is dropping at the moment. He's 29, like we mentioned, a central midfielder. I am saying yes on a Tyler Zulli. I watched this kid play since he was 24. He's been with Napoli for a long time now. Polish. He's played with Robert Lewandowski. It's definitely someone I would absolutely look at. And yeah, you guys in the comments can let us know too.
What's his number? What's his price at right now? What's his contract or anything like that?
Let's look at that Napoli contract because I do believe
can the Union afford him?
If it keeps dropping the way it is, I think that they could.
Do I need to sell a kidney?
His highest value was 3 years ago. It was at 50 million. And so now we're in 2024. It's at 25 million. You look maybe next year, you're talking about the 10s, teens. So maybe a little bit too stupid.
Too expensive for the Union's blood.
But
no deal.
Renee, he fits what I'm talking about. Guy who's versatile, but yes, he does make. So we're gonna keep looking down the line, but that's the type of player I'm talking about, the versatility, and he's also around my age.
Around our age.
Well, I'm sorry, Renee. I was thinking.
Why did you say yours? Everybody in this room is not the same age.
I'm a 94 baby. That's why I was looking at. I know you're not 94. You're not old either, guys.
So
don't get anything.
I'm young, and on the Union show I'm old. It's basically what it comes down to.
So I was when you cover the Union. Everyone's so freaking young on that team.
I'm too young for this show just because I'm a 92 baby. I'm not 92 years old, okay? But I will say this is the problem. He is someone that right now, like the cheapest you can get him at is maybe 18 million. Maybe you're not getting him for 10.
Yeah, that's
way out of the pockets of the Union. Next.
All right, so let's look at.
Do you have a cheaper option? Maybe.
All right, let's go around 10 mil, right?
Yeah.
Because that's probably what we're all. I mean, we know that they wouldn't do it. All right, so I'm gonna go.
We need more of like the used car versus like the new car on the lot. That's like a 2025 edition. I need like the
Renee, Tony
1995
Kroos,
edition.
Tony Kroos is on a free right now. He's valued at 12 million with his value going down, and his contract's about to end with Real Madrid. That is perfect.
Wait. What was his contract at?
Well, his value right now is at 12 mil. He's gonna be on a free because his contract's done. At the end of this year, it's done. So you can get him on a free. You would just have to pay his salary,
which is 21.94 million as of 2022.
Where do you see
euros?
Where are we at here?
I'm on Google. He's 30. He is 34 years old. He's definitely the veteran. He's definitely a big name. I would love to be able to add him to the attack. Could you get him for like 3 million? You think? No.
You would have to spend
at least what?
5 to 10. And the thing with Tony Kroos, I'm sure he wants to play for Chicago, LA, New York. Andre Gomez, I do like from Everton. His value is also dropping. He's at 30 years old, but he's also valued at 12 million. That's also.
Is there anybody in like the
5s?
9 digits or less?
Let's see here. Let's go. How about you? Would you take Anthony Martial, a center forward from Man U?
What is his
contract's up. His valued at 10 mil right now. It's also these are all going down.
Do you know how much money I have? I'm Jay Sugarman. I don't have the funds to spend over $10 million.
He's gonna come off the bench and score goals. Jay,
you're shopping in Target, and I'm more of a Walmart gal. This is not gonna work.
All right, let's see here.
Everybody's too expensive for the Union. They just got $350 measly $1,000 in GAM.
Okay.
And there's million dollar deals of guys that are available.
And I'm going to give some love here to PHLY fam and Andrew Frazier. He did bring this up to me before.
Okay.
So. Luka Modric, at one point, 6 years ago, man was in the running for Ballon d'Or.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, 38 years old. His value is at 8 million euros, and it's going down.
So you could bring him in for like a 1 year...
What does Luka want to do?
$5 million?
The thing is, Luka also has connection. He's he's huge buddies with Doncic down in Dallas, right? See, the thing is, we also need KD to do us some favors.
Yeah, like who does KD know?
Yo,
like
KD's got connects. Like, yo, just holler at Luka. Be like, yo, Luka, I got this little team out in Philadelphia. I know you don't know where that is. But
he knows where we are.
I hope he knows where we are. I can't.
Here every
Sometimes I feel like these Eurostars don't know what Philadelphia is. Because, like, why aren't you like, this is a beautiful city. Look at this. This is beautiful. We're not that far from New York. Look what Julian said.
Philly's also trying to even get a whole beach. Did you see that? They're trying to make a man-made beach here in Philly.
We can go to 30th Street Station to get tans, Modric.
They're trying to get a beach a man-made beach in the city. We have a beach now, too, on top of everything else we already have. You might be able to go to the beach on the Schuylkill.
Yeah.
That's where they have it. On the
All right, this one, listen.
Because that deal's not going to happen either. It's got to be a guy for, like, the most expensive player on the Union's roster right now is not even over $2 million.
What was it, like? Oh, it was like around 2? Ooh.
Correct. So you have to get somebody for under 2. And also, I don't even know if the Union have the ability to pay that much money right now, JP. They just got, like I said, they just got $350,000 in GAM. That's not a lot of money compared to these $10 million plus contracts that are out here.
Like, oh man, Modric,
you're making this worse.
No, but Modric just makes like so much sense. Like it's so
on
ridiculous.
paper, but not in your pockets.
He's not. I mean, like he's not going to be over 10 million to get him here. His value's going down. Oh my God. We're going to have to ask the people in the Twitter worlds how they feel about this. One more here that seems a lot of fun, especially if Carranza leaves. Luka Jovic, who right now is... Another Luka. We'll get a Luka here in the States. Luka Jovic. He is Serbian, center forward. Right now, he is playing with AC Milan. Now, his value has gone down significantly, Renee. Back in 2019. Oh, I remember Jovic. Oh, yeah. Jovic was part of that nasty front line with Eintracht Frankfurt. And then he gets sold to Real Madrid after they won the Pokal. He got sold for 60 million euros, and his value just gone ever since then. I would love Jovic here in the States. Yeah, I feel like Jovic's game would translate great here. Mm-hmm. And now, obviously, if Carranza does leave, that's something I would be looking at as far as a forward goes. But that's another fun one. Luka Jovic.
Okay.
He still got something in the tank here. Well, Nicolas Pepe's had a horrible. You remember Nicolas Pepe?
Pep. Do you know that song?
No.
You don't know that song?
You're about to show me another song.
Don Pepe? You don't know that song?
Why does that sound so familiar?
It's a Spanish song. Don Adi da 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 da. I'm gonna put it on for you after the show because I can't think of I don't know the words. I just know the beat. Bap.
You know what's funny because you're gonna tell me just like the Chips Ahoy commercial, and I was like, God, oh wow, yeah, I remember that.
Don Pepe. Oh, it's such a good song. It's actually, I love that song. Okay, I think the issue is you're looking at people in the millions, and the Union would be more along the lines of paying for somebody in the thousands.
But that's what we're trying to get out of that. We're trying to get out of that. That's not gonna
happen.
But we need to
not like for a mid-season move.
Am I just being a front runner fan here? Like the Jovic's, the Modric, like that makes sense. But the Union, we know just won't do it because it's the Union
But
way.
also, there's no reason to do it because they're undefeated right now. So they're not going to make. If they didn't make a move like that in the offseason, they're not going to make a move like that now.
Yeah, well,
they're actually, because what they're doing is technically on paper working. They are the only unbeaten team. They're top in the East. When you look at the standings,
I'm sure Pachuca has something else to say about our undefeated run. Maybe Cincinnati, LAFC, something different to say about
listen, Inter Miami, New York Red Bulls, Cincinnati, Columbus, Toronto, they're all ahead of the Union right now in the East. But
what's going to happen is when they play Miami again and they're all like, wow, it's Messi just like dribbling past me. And wow, he just scored a goal again. Okay. What's going to happen then?
Can I have your autograph? Well, the other issue is, and this is the reality of it, when you look at how the MLS is shaping up, the Union haven't played anybody that's ahead of them in the East, and they haven't played anybody that's a top.
Yeah, we haven't played Cincy yet. We haven't played Minnesota. Miami. We haven't played the Red Bull yet.
They haven't played a top 4 Western Conference team because Real Salt Lake is number 3, so they'll get that test this weekend. Austin's number 8 and struggling. Portland's number 11 in the West and definitely struggling. Seattle, FC Dallas,
let's see,
Sporting Kansas City. Wait.
Oh wow, Renee. So June 15th, you have Miami, and then 4 days later, you have Cincy.
Yeah, that's the real test.
That right there. That you're gonna remember this episode, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be like a holy moly
4 days
wake
apart.
Up call of like what this team is actually capable of. So that's partly why this bye week, although it's great, they have this time to refresh. Keep in perspective, like Atlanta's behind Philly in the standings. Everybody that they've played so far, Nashville 14th in the East. Like everybody that they've played so far you haven't played a number 1, number 2, number 3 team yet.
Yeah.
I know it's still very early in the season, and there's definitely a lot that we're seeing shake out throughout the league of how these top teams are emerging. But I'm interested to see when they play, as you mentioned, Inter Miami and Columbus being 4 games apart. When you play the Red Bulls, when you play Cincinnati, because those are the teams that right now, LA Galaxy has been on a tear. 21 goals that they've scored. They've given up 15 though, which is wild. That's a lot of goals against too. But they are doing really well. Inter Miami's around that same spot. Messi, we're getting all things Messi left and right. They've put up 22 goals. They've been playing really well. There's a lot of talent across the league, and the Union are just scraping the surface in their 7 games they've played in of playing the best of the best right now. So while I'm excited that they're the last undefeated team, because that's cool, great to take a picture about it and celebrate and post about it and share it and everything. But in reality, it's going to get a little difficult looking forward at. You have quite a tough stretch, starting with Real Salt Lake, which we'll do our preview later on, of course. But starting as soon as this weekend, that they have a really tough stretch of the season that they're going to get into.
That's where I'm at. Like, I know this team is really good. I know this team is going to be one of the finalists, right, in the MLS Cup playoffs. But are they going to be good enough to win the cup? Because, like, I'm tired of talking about, Final Four, tired of talking about Supporter Shield. I want to win MLS Cup. Obviously, we can't win Champions Cup. It is what it is. But we can move on, and we can win the MLS Cup. And for the rest of the season, Renee, I'm just going to continue asking the question to ourselves and to the rest of the audience. Is this team good enough to hoist the MLS Cup? And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if they are good enough to beat the likes of, even LAFC. Even look at our conference. Let's look at Miami.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati has a really strong team that went far last year. So that's just my big question mark. And so that's why I'm, we're all obviously joking here, but like I want them to find an impact signing like that. And I'm not asking for an 11 full of Barcelona players. No, I'm asking for one player who has significant experience in Europe or heck, even South America, who's got some veteran leadership, who's going to come here and help this team out. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, it's definitely going to be a tough stretch in June, but then also again in July where they play the Red Bulls on the 6th and they play Toronto a week later.
That's a tough stretch.
And then it's going to be even New England, which is always a difficult game. There's going to be some stretches of this season that will absolutely challenge them. Of course, the Union also have Leagues Cup that they're going to be hosting. We got the news of that last week that the Union have it's under 100 days away from Leagues Cup now that we are at. And so with the 100-day milestone last week, they did also announce the pool for the knockout round stages and the host teams So the Union are going to kick off the Leagues Cup at Subaru Park against Charlotte FC. That's Saturday, July 27th. And then Cruz Azul on August 4th. As we know, last year the Union did get to the semis in the inaugural Leagues Cup, and then secured a CONCACAF Champions Cup berth by defeating CF Monterrey in the third place match. That's the full circle of it all. So they do also have Leagues Cup games coming up. Like, let's not forget, although they got bounced in a pretty early round in the Sweet 16 of CONCACAF Champions Cup, there's also going to be that stretch where you're going to start to have a couple other games mixed in with your additional MLS games. So I do just get nervous because it is still so early and you don't want to peak at the wrong time. Like, this shouldn't be the best Union soccer that we've seen. I would like to think that right now is a time they're still figuring things out. We're going to get more from a Jesus and Ali off the bench. You're going to get more up top from Marcus and Chris off the bench. You're going to get Andre healthy. You're going to solidify the back line in a way that your center backs are going to be much more consistent and organized than they've been. Because I think partly center backs don't do well with a lot of change. Mm-hmm. They're used to you're either 90 minutes or zero. And to have the rotation that we've seen on the back line might be kind of what's causing Jacob and Jack especially to struggle. Whereas I think Damian stepping up with the opportunity presented. So maybe we'll start to get them, throughout the pitch, everybody locked into their roles, getting a nice rhythm down, getting them playing better, because it does get more difficult from here.
Yeah. And, always keep in mind that once the warmer it gets, the goals start coming. You've seen it over the past couple seasons. So I do think that'll definitely happen here. But yeah, that early part of the summer is going to be a real good test for this blue and gold team, because it's some tough matchups. We talked about it. This run that you've been on, the unbeaten run, has been great. But yeah, you haven't played a lot of world beaters out there. So once June hits, and we're almost a month away from it. So it should be a lot. Yeah, it's not crazy. We're almost at summertime here.
Summer.
I saw the other day, we've been here with PHLY Sports for 7 months.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
We're 7 months in.
Do you celebrate 7 months of like your birthday?
I was going to say something, but now I feel like I can't. Yeah, of course. 7 months is a big deal because it's almost, we're that much closer to a year. We're definitely doing something for our 1 year.
Hell yeah.
For sure. But no, it's exciting for us. Obviously, we're 7 months in, but exciting for the team as a whole, because there's some great things that are coming up, some good matchups. We will be previewing, of course, this weekend. But also, we've got some matchups that are going on at Subaru Park that are not MLS games.
Yeah.
That's NWSL games. The Union did announce they're going to be the host venue for a pair of NWSL games happening this summer as well. So you guys get to check that out in Chester. And so we will have, in July, it's the NWSL and Liga MX Femenil Summer Cup that's happening. So the first game is July 21st, the Washington Spirit to take on Chivas. And then on the 28th of July, it's going to be Gotham FC, the reigning NWSL champs, taking on the Washington Spirit again at Subaru Park. So there's some great things happening in the soccer world.
Lacey Santos is coming to Chester. Are you kidding me? The fanboy is going crazy.
You just got super excited.
I'm excited. I'm a big Washington
guy. I know. And it's going to be fun because it's going to be a great chance. I feel like the location's good. You're going to get DC to Gotham to Philly. All the big soccer fans are able to easily get out to Chester. It's a big summer for soccer.
But these are extremely important for us because, guys, I see a lot of people on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Where's the women's sports in Philadelphia? Well, you know how you get them here? You support events like this.
Good point.
You come out, you show love. I don't care if it's Washington or New York. You come out, you show love to the women's game, and you never know. Mm-hmm. You saw Sons of Ben, or how the Union started. Sons of Ben, they used to go out to the indoor games. Let's go to other MLS games, other Philly sporting events. That's how you started. That's
a great point. If a lot of people show up end of July for these games at Subaru Park, you have people tailgating. Union Yards will be open by then. Oh, yeah. You have a lot of just talk about it and sharing on social and everything, word of mouth. It's going to show that this is an area that's ready for women's soccer the same way that, it's hopefully also ready for women's basketball. So that's a good point.
Put your money where your mouth is, Philly. This is it. This is where you start right here. Should be a lot of fun there. Anything else you got, Renee? That was good.
No.
I like that tidbit.
I liked putting on my Jay Sugarman hat. Definitely am cheap. And saying no to everything as well.
Is this really how it goes, though? Like between Urs and Jay?
Probably.
Like Jay, I got this. Nah, it's too much.
No, I heard million. Too much money.
That's good.
But I do. It's a tough job, and especially with this group, because I think what makes it more difficult, in all seriousness, the perspective I just got from the last 30 minutes of being in that role, I learned a lot, is that this isn't a team where it's like a rebuild.
No.
It almost, in my opinion, might be easier when your team's just a dumpster fire and you just need to bring in anybody and everybody. The team is very good right now. They're playing their best soccer. We're seeing each game getting better. Obviously, as we talk about, there's definitely some nerves in different stretches of the season where they're going to go up against really good opponents and be tested. But that's what you want. That's what the regular season's for. But on the flip side of that, it makes it difficult because you have to be creative. You already have your heavy hitter DPs and the guys you're spending money on. You already have your starting 11. It's not a specific position that you need to fill a void. So you have to get creative. And I think that piece would be a great versatile piece, a spark plug, someone that's going to help contribute. So I'm good on my end because I feel like the Union are in a great spot after having this break to now get back out there. Let's get some more games.
That's
RSL,
right.
Seattle. I forget who's after Seattle. DC United, I think. Some great.
You got RSL, Seattle, DC, Orlando.
Right.
That's your next 4 right there, ladies and
It's a
gentlemen.
great stretch. A
Should be
great
a
stretch
fun
to get some more dubs.
That is right, guys. And that's why you guys got to stay tuned in and plugged in with PHLY Union. That's going to do it for today's episode on a Monday afternoon. Like we talked about, we're gonna be around later this week. We're gonna break down and preview the RSL and Union matchup. Should be a fun one this upcoming weekend. But we want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watching PHLY Union Podcast. We'll be back a little bit later, but make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to PHLY Sports. You can also find us where you stream podcasts. We're available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Just find us under PHLY Union Podcast. For Tyler Zulli behind the glass, I got Renee Washington. I go by name JP Zapata. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Dupe on.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.